The man never saw her coming. Tanpan stood at the intersection of Murray and King Streets in Perth, waiting to cross. It was Saturday evening, May 31st, 2025, just after 8:40 p.m. His back was turned toward the footpath. The city was busy, loud and crowded. Nothing about the moment suggested it would be his last. Behind him, an electric scooter came fast along the sidewalk. Witnesses later described the impact as sudden and violent. The scooter slammed into Tan with enough force to spin him around before he hit the pavement. His head struck the ground. Nearby pedestrians froze. A young woman was thrown from the scooter and lay motionless on the concrete. The rider stayed upright. Her name was Alicia Kemp. Earlier that afternoon, Alicia Kemp had been drinking. She was 24 years old, living in Perth on a 4-month working holiday visa. Originally from Reddick, England, a town of roughly 80,000 people south of Birmingham, Alicia had graduated in 2022 with a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in forensic mental health. After college, she spent time overseas, volunteering at an animal shelter in the Philippines and working as an English teacher in Vietnam. By 2024, she had arrived in Australia and found work at Dirty Nellie's Irish pub on Murray Street, in Perth's central business district. On May 31st, she was out drinking with a 26-year-old friend. At 2:30 p.m, the two women entered a bar called the Buford, where they took part in a promotion allowing unlimited alcohol for 2 hours. When they left, the drinking continued. Over the course of the afternoon and evening, they moved between bars in the CBD, becoming increasingly intoxicated. Twice, staff at other venues refused them entry because of their condition. The final refusal happened around 8 p.m, near the intersection of William and Murray Streets. 30 minutes later, Alicia rented an electric scooter through a mobile app. Security footage captured what happened next. Alicia and her friend appeared to have access to 2 scooters, but they attempted to use only one. Alicia struggled to steady the scooter, while her friend stumbled repeatedly on the footpath and into the street. She had difficulty standing and walking, and when she tried to climb onto the scooter behind Alicia, both women fell to the ground. Eventually, they managed to get back on. Alicia took control of the scooter. Her friend stood behind her as a passenger. The scooter accelerated along the sidewalk on Murray Street. Data later showed it reached speeds of up to 15 miles per hour. Under Perth regulations, electric scooters are permitted on sidewalks, but the speed limit is 6 miles per hour, and riders must give way to pedestrians. Alicia did not. Video showed her weaving through foot traffic as pedestrians stepped aside to avoid being struck. At one point, she crossed a street without slowing down or checking for traffic. A car passed within a few feet of her at the intersection. Police later described her driving as inexplicably dangerous. As the scooter approached the intersection of Murray and King Streets, Tanpan was standing ahead, waiting to cross. He was 51 years old, a structural engineer, and the primary financial provider for his family. He never turned around. The collision sent him spinning. He fell backward and struck his head on the pavement. Alicia's passenger was thrown from the scooter and knocked unconscious. She suffered a skull fracture and a broken nose. At first, it appeared that Tan's injuries were minor. They were not. Instead of staying with the injured or seeking help, Alicia left. She continued her night out, going to multiple bars and drinking into the early morning hours of Sunday, June 1st, 2025. Meanwhile, Tanpan was taken to Royal Perth Hospital. His condition deteriorated rapidly. He had suffered severe brain injuries. 2 days later, he died. When police connected the severity of his injuries to the scooter collision, Alicia Kemp was arrested. Testing showed her blood alcohol concentration at the time of the incident was approximately 0.185%, more than 3 times Australia's legal limit of 0.05%. Under Australian law, electric scooters are classified as motor vehicles for the purposes of drink driving offences. She was charged with dangerous driving causing death while under the influence of alcohol, dangerous driving causing bodily harm while under the influence of alcohol. The incident was believed to be the first pedestrian death caused by an electric scooter in Australia and the first of its kind in Western Australia.
Sorry for what happened. It's not a second that's gone past that she hasn't felt the pain of what she's done. She feels for the family. She's not quarrelling with the amount of the time. She understands she's going to be punished for what she's done. She's just incredibly sorry.
On August 11th, 2025, Alicia Kemp pleaded guilty to dangerous driving causing death under the influence of alcohol. The second charge, related to the injuries suffered by her passenger, was dismissed by the prosecution, citing the low likelihood of securing a conviction. Alicia was remanded in custody without bond. The offence carried a maximum possible penalty of 20 years in prison. She waited. On December 12th, 2025, Alicia Kemp returned to court for sentencing. Details about Tanpan's life were presented. He was married and the primary provider for his household. He and his wife had 2 autistic children, aged 18 and 20. His eldest son repeatedly asked when his father was coming home. The court acknowledged that Alicia had no prior criminal history and had pleaded guilty early in the process. The judge stated that there was no malicious intent behind her actions. Alicia Kemp was sentenced to 4 years in prison, with a non-parole period of 2 years. With credit for time already served, she became eligible for release as early as mid-2027. Her driver's license was suspended for 2 years. Alicia Kemp will eventually leave prison. Tanpan will not. For his family, the loss did not end with the court proceedings. The consequences of that night on Murray Street extend far beyond the intersection where a scooter struck a pedestrian who never saw it coming. The city moved on, the case closed, the damage remained.